Hello everyone. This is a podcast series Beyond Architecture, and I'm your host, architect Mohsin Sheikh. This year's theme is an attempt at discussing design, technology, innovation, and philosophy around architecture. Right in the first episode, we are in conversation with Mr. Bharat Gothoskar, a heritage evangelist from and for Mumbai, founder of Khaki Tours, and much more. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for accepting the invitation. Starting with, how would you describe yourself, sir?
Okay, so I consider myself to be a heritage evangelist, right? I specifically use the word evangelist because what we are doing at Khaki needs evangelical zeal, just the way, probably Catholic clergies would love to convert the world, right? You need conviction in the mission that you have started, right? So that you can take it to more and more people, convince them about the message, and so that they join you for whatever you want to do.
Nicely composed. So how did you discover the city, sir? Like both literally and figuratively, were you born here? And
so I'm very much born in this city. Maternal side of my family has been in the city for almost 3 centuries. Okay. So I've heard a lot of stories at different points of time. My mother, who was into literature, father who was into journalist, I've heard a lot of stories about the city. So I would say I had a background in terms of getting interested in things. And as my sister would like to say, I have a habit of collecting random crap. Right. So
yes, sir.
Information related to the city, just because I somehow love it. And it's there somewhere in my deep crevices of my brain, and I keep on taking it out of my hat and telling it to people. I don't know when I transitioned from that to creating an organization which does that. But the interesting part is more and more people, like-minded people, have joined and are doing the same. So that's how it's growing strength to strength.
So it's collectively growing and forming a community for everything, for heritage and everything.
Before social media came on the scene, you think you are the only idiot who is passionate about something like this. But it could be anything. It could be stamp collecting, watching trains. It could be about nature. You suddenly realize there's a community of like-minded people, and then they start gravitating towards you. You have to be the agent of change. So that you create the bond among similar people so that they can come together.
So you being the catalyst of the heritage, Mumbai heritage to be precise, you are creating an aura for a young enthusiast like us to come and have an interaction with you. Thank you so much for that. Also, what gave birth to your interest in this heritage and touring, and how did you formulate this format like Khaki?
So there are various ways. I didn't necessarily look at this as a heritage tours alone. I always felt that people don't understand the city, whether it is visitors or locals, right? And there are various layers to the city. So there is a colonial history, there's a local history, different communities, various angles, art, architecture, multiple layers, and they change from location to location.
Yes, sir.
As Shada Dwivedi's famous book, Bombay, the Cities Within. So she said, Mumbai is not a city per se. It is multiple small towns touching each other. So the way Baikala thinks is very different from the way Dongri next door thinks. Or Mahim and Bandra, just across the creek, are totally different in their nature.
Right.
You have to understand that there is no uniform Mumbaikar. They have common traits, but each location, each community has their own distinct identity, which is amazing. Together we create Mumbai, but individually also we are equally vibrant. So
equal cultures. What were some of the challenges you faced while venturing to Khaki, and how did this transition happen, and how did you come out to setting up this thing? What were the challenges facing this venture?
So I have been thinking about this for a long time, probably almost 25 years before I actually started Khaki. So even during my student days, I always felt that something like this should be done but somebody should do it. I didn't never thought that I will end up doing it,
Okay.
right? So I was very passionate that city stories should be told, but I was waiting for somebody to do it. When nobody else was doing it, then I decided to take the plunge. And so I had a corporate career of almost 16 years, which I gave up. I started doing walks when I was the head of marketing and sales in Mahindra. Yeah. Okay. So I'm a boring mechanical engineer, after which I've done my MBA marketing and then 16 years of career. So the whole effort during that time was I was just doing it for passion. Right. And I realized that there are so many people that this needs to be created as an organization, which will hopefully outlive me. And
so in a structured format.
In a structured format. And thankfully, there are a lot of people who, log aate gaye, karwa banta gaya. Not only of people who wanted to hear, but wanted to contribute because they are afraid that if Khaki closes down at some point of time, and there was a clear and present danger during the pandemic, right, it might close down. A lot of people came across saying that if Khaki is closed down, then it will adversely impact the future of the city in terms of collecting the stories, researching, archiving, and so on and so forth. That's what it is.
Agreed. What are your three best memories of the city, if you can recall any one of them?
I think so. One of my favorite memories is the BSC double-decker bus. Okay. Yeah. To be able to travel on the first seat on the upper deck. Yeah. And imagine that you are driving a bus. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of kids would have done that. There's nothing hindering you, and you have access to the world and the breeze coming in your hair. So I think so that is one of my amazing memories which I have. The second memory, which is far more recent, is when I first time saw what is known as the Bombay Castle. Now, Bombay Castle is the oldest standing building in South Mumbai, which is almost 5 centuries old, which is a century older than Taj Mahal, right? And that is the seed from which the modern city of Mumbai has evolved. So that's the first building around which the city started developing. Yeah. So it is not so easy to access because it is now under naval control. So we were lucky that we had some friends who arranged for the visit. And to see that building and the entrance was very, very emotional, in terms of seeing the oldest building, which commoners cannot easily see. So that is a memory that I distinctly remember. The third memory I would think is the accidental idea of Khaki being born. Okay. So I was at that time, Google Maps was just new. They didn't show traffic or anything of that sort. Okay. And I was in Girgaon and wanted to go to Tambakata. These are all areas in South Mumbai, which are very densely populated. Street traffic is high, and a lot of vendors and markets and things like that. So the distance was barely a kilometer. Ideally, we should have taken a detour and come from the other side. Yeah. But Google Maps showed a very short route, and I took it. I asked my driver to take our car through that, and we were stuck in that market. But I couldn't appreciate what was the architecture around. That is when the idea came to me of starting open Jeep safaris, and it will be a World War II khaki colored Jeep. That's what I thought about 11 years ago, and that's how the word Khaki Tours came up. Okay. It's only 5 years later that I was able to conceptualize and come up actual starting walks under the brand, but that concept came. It was a eureka moment, that why can't I do this? I'm stuck here, so I can do something interesting.
Yes, sir. So two questions on this thing is, are we having any of your heritage walks for that castle, where Bombay Castle, can we see, or is it like open for all, not for open for all?
Right now, it is not because of security considerations, but we are in talks with to open it up on weekends so that common man can appreciate. See, at the end of the day, it's an Indian naval station, right? So, that is where the safety and security of the city is linked to it. And we have had terrorist attacks in the past. So they will be cautious. They will ask a lot of documents of people who are coming. But let's hope that we will be able to arrange for this sooner than later.
Okay. So looking forward for that. And I, while researching on this Khaki lab and everything, the one thing I really liked about is the acronym which you came up with, like keeping heritage alive in and kicking in India. I was I was like, Khaki is something related to this thing only. Astonished to see that. That was something
So
amazing.
the credit doesn't go to me. There are
Okay.
two people in the team who jointly came up with this, Vinayak Talwar and Suki Vora.
Okay.
Both of them came up with the complete form of Khaki.
Okay.
And it is apt because it has a bit of zing in it. It's not old fashioned. It talks about keeping it alive and kicking. So making it relevant to younger people like you. Many of the heritage events talks usually have a lot of gray hair.
Yeah.
So if we can get younger people involved in this, then it will impact much more.
So what does heritage or art mean to you? How important is that for you? If you can say, enlighten us with that.
So, sure. So we have to first define what is heritage. Heritage is the legacy that our ancestors have left for us, and we are only the guardians who will take it to the next generation. At the same time, we are supposed to enrich it. You know, heritage cannot be static, and many people mistakenly feel that heritage is all about only built structures, which is wrong, right? That is just one aspect of heritage. Yeah.
Right.
Build structures, heritage buildings. Yeah, is what comes to people's mind when you talk about heritage. But heritage is also about the food you eat. Yeah. Yes. The fabrics you wear, the artifacts that would be there in your house, right? Right. The music. Yeah. There are so many aspects to it: art, language, all these aspects. What is the use of rapidly losing the dialects which are spoken in the city? Yeah. Or the kind of food. I mean, I would love to taste khoja food. Yeah. But where do you get it in the city? Where so there are different aspects of the city which you don't have easy access to.
Yeah.
So how do we go about doing it and we feel proud about it? Khaki exists to make younger people proud about the legacy that is there in the city. Otherwise, they will always feel that something outside India or outside Mumbai is amazing, but their city, their culture is not great. So this is to re-emphasize that you have a great legacy.
Right, sir. How are you going ahead with this amazing work? How are you taking it to the next level? What are your plans for the next, and how are you going to build up and post pandemic, and what are your other plans? Will you be expanding this to other cities like I have heard in the other podcast that you are going to start with the Ladakh project, and Hampi are also, and Bhopal are also coming up. So what are the other plans?
So, as the name says, keeping heritage alive and kicking in India, right? So, we will eventually expand to all places. Right. We have two organizations within Khaki. One is Khaki Tours, which is a for-profit company, which is essentially curating experiences in the city, right? And the other part is Khaki Heritage Foundation, right, which has a three-pronged program. Generating awareness about heritage, archiving information about the city and making it accessible to common man, right? And last is conservation. So where I'm sitting is the Khaki lab, where the library is right behind me of various information related to the city.
Yes, sir.
It is important that we get Mumbai right, and I think so so that the model can be then replicated in other cities. Right. So the pandemic was a huge blow because, foreign tourists are not coming. We couldn't do activities which would raise funds to support the not-for-profit organization. Okay. So if there are funds, we would love to do some things in the city itself, like a school contact program. We have planned on various initiatives jointly with the BMC, the municipality, and ability to do things at a local level at multiple places in the city, right? So let's get Mumbai right first, and probably 2 years down the line, we would be involved in projects beyond the city.
Right. Right, sir. And the final question would be like, what's one thing that you absolutely love about Mumbai, and what's one thing that you would desperately want to change about Mumbai if given a chance? Yeah.
Right. So I think so. What I love about Mumbai is nobody gives a damn about your background. Yeah, मेरा बाप कौन है तुम्हें पता dialogue you will never hear in Mumbai, right?
Yeah.
Which you tend to hear in other cities.
Yeah.
Because here, what is your capability is respected, not your origins, right? So that's the biggest reason for success of this city. That we don't give a damn what is the color of the cat as long as it can catch the mice. So the meritocracy, that is the biggest strength of the city. I think so. Infrastructure, yeah, and the ability to conserve what we have and make it relevant so that it can be used. We are rapidly losing a lot of streetscape in South Mumbai because you have popcorn towers which are replacing older buildings. Now, this is mindless development. Some parts should be conserved so that we know what that area looked like, not only from a touristy point of view, but a living heritage is something that we can create so that the future generation know what was there in the city.
Okay. That was really nice having you here. If you can ask our followers to just subscribe to our channel.
Thank you, Mohsin, for giving me the opportunity to interact with the audience who is already attached to your blog, to your podcast. And I would recommend all of you to subscribe to this podcast so that more and more interesting things about the city and beyond is something that you can access.
Yeah. That's Mr. Bharat Gothoskar for you. What an interesting and thought-provoking conversation indeed. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Remember to like, follow, and share, and stay tuned for another guest and valuable interactions only on Beyond Architecture. Thank you.